I have no problem informing the governor that I am not going to arrest people or cite him over his illegal orders, unconstitutional orders. It's not going to happen. The majority of my job is to protect the citizens' civil liberties and their God-given rights under the Constitution. That's the sheriff's job, and I take it serious.
2 months into the U.S.'s coronavirus pandemic, the debate over whether to reopen cities and towns is growing louder, with some local authority figures boldly opposing their own state's governors and laws. The debate over where authority lies in Klickitat is sounding a lot like the debate being waged nationally. It's not so much whether to reopen or not, it's about who's in charge to make those decisions. On March 23rd, Democratic Governor Jay Inslee instituted stay-at-home laws in Washington. After following along initially, Klickitat County Sheriff Bob Songer has begun to openly dismiss Inslee's orders. I went to Klickitat to learn more about this cultural divide, from 6 feet away, of course. Hi, this is Charles Bethea, and I'm here with David and Michael Hansen, and we're doing some filming related to how Klickitat County is handling kind of the next phase of the virus. And,
you might find it hard to believe, but I'm a big Trump supporter. I think he's done an outstanding job. And you see that he's trying to get people back to work as well. But just from a county sheriff in a small county, I believe what I'm hearing, the virus started in China. And if our economy collapsed because of it, they won without firing a shot.
The sheriff has a history of bucking authority. Last year, he refused to enforce a state gun control law, a brash stance that earned him an interview with Alex Jones.
I said, if they come to take your guns, I'll be standing beside you.
He has deputized a sheriff's posse of 140 local citizens authorized to kill mountain lions and act as enhanced neighborhood watchmen. His defiant style has made him popular in conservative areas of the county. In mid-April, I came across an email titled, "You swore and oath to our Constitution," that Bob Songer had sent to a number of sheriffs in the state. Songer wrote that, quote, "No governor's proclamations or orders can override your liberties without violating your constitutional rights, even during a crisis."
The sheriff has total authority. We have authority throughout the cities, even in the county. When you're following the rule of law under the Constitution, I don't worry about it at all, seriously. I feel comfortable in dealing with those kind of matters when I believe that I'm right under the Constitution. If the governor has some other viewpoint that's not legal under the Constitution, then I have no problem going head-to-head with the governor.
3 other counties in Washington have publicly defied all or parts of the governor's stay-at-home orders. A few hours after our interview with Songer, Governor Inslee responded to the defiant sheriffs with a press conference.
Law enforcement officers who I have huge respect for, who thousands of them today are not going off half-cocked and saying they're not going to enforce the law. They're enforcing the law. There's just 2 of them that I know of that want to make a political statement. But for whatever talents they have, they just are not given the right in our democracy to make a decision about the Constitution. That is a decision we leave to the courts.
Located in south-central Washington, Klickitat County is roughly the size of Rhode Island. 20,000 residents are split along an east-west divide, reflecting that of the entire state. A few progressive small towns on the west side, rural and conservative on the east side. I spoke to Marla Keithler, the newly elected mayor of a small progressive town on the west side, who agrees with Governor Inslee's stay-at-home guidelines. Yesterday, when we sat down and talked to him, he said at one point that he has total authority in the county. I was reminded of something the president recently said as well. Just generally speaking, what do you think his role is or should be in moving forward through this next phase of the virus?
Hearing that he views his role as having total authority is not surprising, because I think it's indicative of kind of how he has portrayed that position, and factually the laws kind of support it right now in terms of the freedoms that the office of sheriff has. Hearing, however, that he is saying that is a little bit disconcerting, because I think whether that's the powers afforded to you or not, as he's still an elected official, and I think we take an oath to uphold the laws. So if he's starting to say one thing and we're saying something else, it can give fuel to a fire. All of our public health is dependent upon the least vigilant citizen. So if we start giving an open door to that least vigilant citizen that wants to return to not having to wear a mask, or not taking proper social distancing precautions, or going to all the businesses the minute they open up and not adhering to those businesses' guidelines, it threatens all of us, and I think that's the real concern.
The governor seems to be more of a follower of science than emotion or politics. You know, he's making responsible decisions, some of them probably really hard, because shutting down everything has got severe consequences for a lot of people. But, you know, what is the flip side?
The question becomes, people in this community, what do they think is right? You know, listening to Inslee and following his proclamations, or saying, no, the sheriff says this is okay, so I'm going to do this, meaning open a business, for example.
Well, I mean, our sheriff in this county is more rural. I would say the sheriff has more say. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
In there. I mean, and he's not doing it to hurt anybody. He's just doing it to try to help the citizens of this county. What's going to happen this year, just at this ranch? I already know with the way things are going, we're going to have thieves out here butchering and rustling beef. It's coming.
That governor is not my boss, nor is that attorney general. County commissioners are not my boss, even though I think a great deal of our 3 county commissioners, outstanding people. The only people that is my boss is the citizens that elected me to office, period. The Constitution is the law of the land, not some directive put out by the governor or put out by any elected official that flies in the face of the Constitution. That is not legal, and it's not the proper thing to do.
Affirming for some people that a total disregard for any of the recommendations coming down from our governor is appropriate because they aren't constitutionally based feels a little bit like a very reckless distraction that actually has the potential to cost lives and the resources of our first responders and limited capabilities of a rural county. And that's the part that I think is troubling. Right now in Washington State, Klickitat County ranks first in terms of the percentage of deaths to positive cases. That should give people pause. It's a serious situation. We don't have that much control right now.
Dr. Scott Lindquist, the state epidemiologist for communicable diseases in Washington, told me that the rhetoric coming from sheriffs like Bob Songer is, quote, concerning. He was fairly confident that stay-at-home messaging from the governor's office would prevail, even in these rural areas, but he couldn't be sure. We'll know soon enough.